All right, we're doing a short video here to get you started on CCW. CCW is Connected Components Workbench, and it's the latest software by Rockwell Allen Bradley. So in this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you just basically how you use the software to get you started. And at the end of this video, I'll give you instructions on where you and how you can download the software for free. So stay with me. Thank you. This is Dr. O. So I'm going to open up my software in here. The icon is here. You can also do programs. And if you look for Rockwell software, there should be a Rockwell software folder. Otherwise, you could do a CCW search and it's going to be there. That's another way you can open the software once you install it. Okay, so we got the software opening, and I'm gonna have to bring it over from my other screen. Sorry. Once it pops up, I'll bring it over to this side. So let me pause it for a second. So this is what you should see once you open CCW or Connected Component Workbench. There are 3 or 4 areas here that are a little bit important for you. The first area, it's actually the project organizer right here. Project organizer right here. You can see that right there. That's where you can add, move, delete components to your project. You can select controllers and other things. We're going to do more of that in this lab. And then you have the actual project itself. You can create a new project. You can open existing project. You could also do discover, and discover, what it does is recognizes what components are connected to your programming device, your laptop, and with that you can start working on your project. You can also do recent projects. That's another one. Like, I've opened other projects and you could reopen those projects. Another important part here is you're getting started. This will help you get acquainted with a lot of things: software homepage, training videos, samples. There's videos that will expand your knowledge, and you could become a great programmer by following the getting started. So hopefully you will still need my help, but if you don't need my help, you can use the getting started. The next one is the toolbox. The toolbox appears right here. You can expand that, and there's a general toolbox, right? And you could actually do a search here on anything you want on the toolbox. Discover. Okay, it doesn't give you much. All right, there are no usable controls in this group. Drag them and so on and so forth. You can drag components to there. There's also the properties of the components, all right, and so forth. So those are going to be there once you actually open up your catalog or open your project. The toolbox will pop up all the tools that are available. So those are the important parts of your navigation. If we do, let's see, device, right? Device, creating a project. So let's go ahead and create a new project here, just for the sake. And we'll call this demo 1. Okay. So we're going to create a new project, demo 1. Notice that that's where the project's going to go. I'm gonna just change this back to my computer, making sure I am on my local drive. All right, desktop, on my documents, and there should be a CCW folder in there. So I'm gonna do that. So you can look for whatever folder you want to look at your projects at. Here, add device on create. It's selected. Otherwise, you're gonna have to recheck this back. But this is what you want, so that at the moment that you create your project, you are going to decide what device you're gonna be calling out from, right? And in this particular case, I have no hardware connected, therefore I'm going to be using the simulator, and the simulator is part of the utility here that you can find the controllers. It's under Micro 850, and that's the sim one. So you select that simulator, and what that allows you to do is test, design, and even simulate an actual ladder logic or other programming language PLC project without having hardware. And so that's a wonderful thing to have. So the version I'm using, I believe, is version 13 or 12 is what let me do here. So okay, let's select 12. So I'm going to select that, and once I select that, then my project will start to be created. All right, I need to add that to the project. At this moment, that's all I want to add. You can add other features to your project, such as drives, right? BFD drives, or motor starters, right? Or safety devices, or other types of um, graphic devices. Okay, we're not going to do anything else. We're just going to add that to our project. That's our main goal in here. And so the project organizer is going to change on our left hand side once we create the project, and that's a good thing. All right, we're going to come across the first screen, and now we have here some new data that is created along with the project creation, and that's what you want to see. There is the controller we have just selected. You can change this controller at any time by right clicking in here and change controller. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep it, but that's how you change controller. If you were to go from a simulation controller to a hardware controller or vice versa, that's what you want to do. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little basic program on ladder logic, so you know that. Now, the power behind this new software is that you can program in at least 3 different programming languages out of the 5 standard PLC programming languages. That's a wonderful thing. That's an expansion to some of the PLC programming softwares that is coming up. There's no one yet that you can do 5 different languages such as the standards programming, but you can do at least this one we're showing you in 3 different languages. We're going to do right where it says programs, right click, and we're going to add a ladder diagram. Okay, so that's what we're doing, adding a ladder diagram, which is what this demonstration is all about. All right, and then there's a self-named prog1 that appears, right? And as we selected to add a ladder logic, if you double click on that, it will open up the ladder logic canvas to be able to do programming. Notice that we could have gotten other types of programming languages involved here. We're not going to do that. When I do right click on programs, add, you could also add a structured text or a function block. At some point I'll do some more programming on that, but for now it's a ladder program, right? So this is the starting point of a ladder, and we're going to create here and change this program by double clicking or simply right clicking and editing, renaming, and we're going to name that motor. Oops, sorry. Right click, rename, motor circuit. I'm going to call that motor circuit, motor CKT, right, for abbreviation for motor circuit. So I have renamed the program to be motor circuit, and what we're going to be doing here is essentially a program that will use a couple of switches and a pilot light that will allow us to simulate a motor starting stopping operation. We're going to see how we do that actually here in a little bit. So we're going to have to do quite a number of things here to be able to do what we need to do, okay? But I promise you, you're gonna be all right. It's gonna be just cool. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to be able to identify the inputs of our project. And for our project, we're going to use 2 inputs, input 0 and input 1, and the output is going to be output 7. And along with that, we're going to be able to add on a monitoring light. I think that's what the project's going to be. Okay, so we're going to go through the whole process of creating this and running the project to be able to make it work, right? And so I wanna show you here in a little bit what our project is gonna look like, so that you have an idea of what the project is gonna look like. Okay, so let's see. So let's start what we need to start. So I'm gonna bring up a direct contact. That's gonna be for my input. Okay, and I can just hold and drag that down. I'm gonna add it here. Okay, and it brings up this variable selector, and once it pops up, I'm gonna go to micro A50, I'm sorry, IO micro A50, and I want to use the first input. So it's gonna be digital input down here, this one right here, as the start. So I'm gonna write here start. Okay, that's gonna be my start. Okay, and I'm gonna use another one. I'm gonna actually use a normally close for the stop, and I'm gonna call that from the IOs here. I'm gonna call that stop. So that's gonna be my stop. It's gonna be digital input 1. Okay, so we got the start, we got the stop. Now we need to add an output, right? So it's gonna be this guy right here. Add an output, and we could pick up just any output. I'm gonna just pick out output 0 for this one here. So I'm gonna call this output 0. I'm gonna call that motor, right? That's gonna be our motor. Okay, so output 0 is gonna be our motor. So this looks pretty good, and we could try this, but honestly, if we try this, what's gonna happen is we're gonna need to be holding input 0 high, like you have an operator pressing that button in order for this to be held, right? And we don't want that. So what we want is we want to add memory to the circuit so that it holds the circuit once you start it. And so for that, I'm going to create a branch around input 0, and this is the branch I want. So I'm going to add this branch right here. Okay, and I want to be able to bring it a seal, which is going to be a direct contact to this point, and that seal, I want the output to be the sealer for that. So I want this one to be the seal for that. Therefore, when I press energize input 0, the signal is going to go on. It will turn that on, and then this output being energized is going to hold this seal closed so the circuit is energized. So that is our circuit. We can actually label this up on top here, saying this is the ladder logic program for a motor start stop operation, right? So we're doing that, and now I'm gonna save this, and I'm going to build this with this icon right here. Yeah, I'm recording. Okay, so it's gonna be a 15-minute video, and once I build, then the next thing I'm gonna do is download. And of course, I'm gonna have a little bit of a problem here because I haven't tested the communications between my programming device, my laptop, and the actual hardware that we're gonna be using. So I'm gonna help it here a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to bring up the simulator, which is what I'm using to demonstrate to you this project. All right, you should have the simulator. That's part of the default installations once you get the software installed. Again, at the end of this video, I'll give you another short video on how you can install that. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on. All right, so my device is turned on. You have to have this in remote mode or programming mode before you can bring the file into the memory of this device. We're mimicking an actual hardware device using the simulator. Okay, so next thing we want to do is we want to download the project. You can also find the download right around here, right? Download. So download can be found anywhere else. I'm going to use this icon right here, this icon, download, to send the project over. This would normally take a little bit of time, so I'm going to pause my video here to not make it too long. Okay. So if everything went well downloading your software, then you should be now ready to change this to put it in run mode. So I'm going to switch this to run mode, and as I do that, I'm going to connect this, and I'm waiting on that connection. It says build succeeded here, but I'm having a little bit of connection point here.